Ladies and gentlemen, this is part two, and what I have realized is that messing with Jesus and his alter ego. When I tried to get Jesus up on stage before and to say hello, Michael Fazio, who is this? Jesus. And Jesus, do you have anything to say to Mr. Trump? Oh yeah. Oh, I have lots of things to say to Mr. Trump. Remember, Mr. Trump. Remember, remember, remember. Remember, Mr. Trump, the 10 things that you're supposed to remember, including thou shalt not this, thou shalt not that, thou shalt not bear, thou shalt not rule, and thou shalt not lie, Mr. Trump. So when you go on stage, Mr. Trump, you have to give them the skinny on the real deal. And you've done that, Mr. Trump, so you will have a place in the pearly gates. That's right. You have told the people about the novel Toyota Corolla virus. You have told them the truth by using the word novel in your metaphors on what it is. You have told them what they need to know. If they can't figure it out on their own, Mr. Trump, you are now scot-free. Scott Del Fuego free. You are. You will be. You are the wordsmith in the White House, and the Scott Del Fuego is the wordsmith on YouTube, baby. And other people have tried. Other people have imitated the great Scott Del Fuego and his wordsmithing capacity. None have come close, nor will there ever be a rival to the wordsmithing done by the great Scott Del Fuego. I've seen people, I've heard people, I've seen some of the craziest things said about Scott Del Fuego, but none will ever be his equal when it comes to wordsmithing. In fact, some have tried, some have lied, and most of those people can't even spell. So let's get on with the show. Mr. Trump, you look like a sheik. I represent the big industries and the stuff with the petrochemical and pharmaceuticals. And I represent them. So Mr. Trump is going to come out with some truths, the Trump puppet, about the Toyota Corolla virus. And one of the truths is don't. Whoa, Scott Del Fuego, wordsmithing already. Andrew, amen, Jesus. We're back. Jesus, he had, soon as, I can't even say those words. Soon as I mentioned the altar guy, not the altar of the Vatican, that's another thing altogether, but the altar, Jesus, they don't like that stuff at all. So Andrew Steinmetz says, amen, Jesus, we're back. We're back. Scott Del Fuego, the wordsmith, don't ever underestimate the genius of a man not bound by the conventions of education. Don't ever underestimate the folly of a man who has taken his last stand in his chosen ending place. Means that I have convictions, and where I am is where I am, and I will be very content where I am and with what I'm doing, because all I do is present you with the non-facts of the fictional novel Corona Toyota virus. And that is in the title of the heading, because I'm about ready to read you what the word novel means, and then you will understand what the Trump administration and the American Medical Association and the Pharmaceutical Association, and soon the world, whose health organization will mandate onto the people of this flat earth, because there is no proof whatsoever that the earth is round. Just remember, water seeks its own level. And if a helicopter was to rise straight up in the air and the Earth was rotating at 1,068 miles an hour in one direction, and the helicopter wanted to go 1,068 miles to the east, all the helicopter would have to do is rise up for an hour and then drop back down. And then that helicopter would be 1,068 miles away. It's been proven time and time again. So there are multitudes of formulas to prove that the Earth is flat, but you people you continue to believe it's round with no proof whatsoever, no proof ever given whatsoever, including the Corollas effect, when you shoot a bullet up in the air, or you shoot a bullet from north to south or east to west. There should be some quantification of the amount of windage and footage and how far off the bullet will be because of the Corollas effect, Coriolis effect, and yet there is none. Did you know this? Did you know that they've done countless experiments with cannons and precise amounts of gunpowder, where they've shot a cannon straight up in the air? So theoretically, the cannonball takes whatever it is, 15 seconds to get back down to Earth. Well, in theory, if they shot it straight up in the air, then the cannonball would land 1,000 feet away from where the cannon was. So they came up with this magical theory that the atmosphere on Earth is moving with the planet Earth, the globe. So that's why the cannonball sometimes falls right back into the barrel of the cannon. So you have a 6-inch cannonball that rises up 1,500 to 2,000 feet and then falls back down and sometimes lands inside the barrel of the cannon, but mostly within 1 meter from the cannon, because the magic of the rotation of the globe and the atmosphere around the globe matches precisely the magic of the spinning ball Earth at 1,068 miles per hour. However, this theory falls short. That's at the equator. So why would the same thing happen when you reduce the distance to the poles, as if there were 2 poles, when in fact there's only 1 pole, and that's north? So these things have all been proven, and yet we still think the Earth is revolving. So do you remember when you were in school? Now, I'm getting off topic a little bit, but I don't care, because my topic is my topic for the day. Remember when you were in school and they put you on a moving train and they told you to throw a ball towards the front of the train? So from where you were moving at 60 miles an hour, they always use the number 60, and where you throw the ball, it lands 1,200 feet away because you're moving 60 miles an hour. Now they tell you to take the same ball and turn to the back of the train and throw it, and the ball only goes about 200 feet. That's the same solution for the rotation of the globe, but they refuse to admit that. So moving past the vertical cannonball test and the fact that water seeks its own level, any fluid dynamics demands, and absolutely quantifies that all liquids, including glass, which is a liquid, by the way, will seek its own level eventually. Did you know that glass was a liquid? Yeah, just look at a window that's 200 or 300 years old, and you'll see it melting, because the glass is just a harder solid liquid. It's not hard. It's liquid. Glass is liquid. Did you know that? Yeah, look it up. It's there. So you take the cannon, you shoot it straight up, the ball lands inside the cannon. You shoot the cannon forward, it goes 6 times further than if you shoot the cannon backwards off the train. Now let's try the third experiment. Shoot the cannon to the side, left or right. There should be what they call the Coriolis effect, and it should land not straight. Should land different distances, left, north or south, or east or west, but it doesn't. All exact measurements of gunpowder and exact weighted cannonballs all land equally distant from the cannonball nozzle, or the mouth of the cannon itself. So a cannonball that goes on solid ground 1,000 feet north will go 1,000 feet south, 1,000 feet east, 1,000 feet west. You have been lied to, which brings me into today's dissertation. We are jacked up, baby. See, Mr. Trump, he's got on an Arab type oil sheik thing on his head because Mr. Trump represents the big companies. And if you'll notice, in the midst of the novel Toyota Corolla virus, all the big corporations are still working feverishly to take your money. That's right. What the great Steve, what's that guy's last name? Montelli. The great Steve Montelli calls the wiggle. That was a good name. I don't like to use that without giving reference to the great Steve Montelli, who was, as I mentioned in my previous live stream, denoted as a pessimist, when in fact Steve is a great man, discussing the truth, justice, and what was once the American way in a very sullen format. He's trying to tell you it's over. The American dream has come to an end. And he doesn't say that because he is the great Steve Montelli. So let's get back to the show notes. Mr. Trump, remember the novel Corolla Toyota virus. Remember that, because I'm about ready to read you what the word novel means. Now, let's get back up before we get jacked up. Don't ever underestimate the power of a man who has no fears and fears no accountability. Such a man is coiled steel. Let me tell you something about springs. Springs have what is called potential energy. They are dangerous. One of the most dangerous jobs a man can ever do is replace the springs on his automobile or truck. Without proper knowledge, the potential energy in a spring, which is why Scott used coiled steel, is amazing. You can lose a lot more than you think by replacing the springs on your automobile. A lot of people just tie off the springs. You know, they'll compress the springs and they'll tie them off with what they believe is enough rope or wire to hold the potential energy of the spring. Gotta tell you, boy, I've seen springs pop, not a lot, not a big distance, but they only usually pop down from the chassis to the floor. But if you're between the floor and the chassis, they will crush you. That's why Scott uses coiled steel as a reference. They are dangerous. When I used to they have something called a spring compressor, which is pretty much solid steel, like a giant clamp. I would wire those things so much wire on. People say, what the hell are you doing? I'm saying, I'm protecting my assets. The man who has no fears and no accountability. Such a man is coiled steel, ready to unleash destruction at will. Don't ever underestimate Michael Fazio. Thank you, Scott. Jack Thompson. We are about ready to get jacked up by Jack Thompson. Light it up. Not that Jack Thompson had an idea. And I have to tell you, in order for Jack Thompson's idea to work, I have to send out a few emails. So for now, we're going to keep that one close to the chest, Jack. That I have a title for that. video, and it's pretty cool, but I'm not going to release the title. I think that will be Friday, Philippines time, live stream. But I will tell people that my next live stream on Friday, I am going to request an additional 12,000 US dollars to add on to the monies I already collected for the computer, which have a sum total of about $3,500. So the reason I'm going to ask for additional funding of 12,000 US dollars to the 3,500 I already collected is because, well, it's basically very simple. If you pay attention to what's going on now, you'll know in my video at the ICM Mall that the computer store, if you watch the video that says Jollibee's is #1 on my channel, you'll know that the computer store, I did a video of the shelves and the display cases of the computer store itself. So within that video, you will notice all the display counters are empty. There are no computers. And then I spoke with a long-term friend of mine and security guard at the store itself, and he says there is no stock in Asus computers. Pretty much when I looked through after the video, there was no stock in computers at all. Therefore, in addition to the $3,500 that I collected for the computer in various methods and methodologies, I'm going to request an additional, and this could be considered, it's possible that some people might think that the possibility exists that this is an additional legitimate scam, or even some of the more negative cretins on YouTube might even consider it a scam without the word legitimate running in the foreground. Now, I have to tell you, I only run legitimate scams, and I'll prove it to you right now. So far, I collected 3,500 US dollars for a computer. I did that in one day, one live stream, one day, and have trickled in. However, 3,500 is not enough. Not only did I upgrade the computer, because the newer version of the Asus ZenBook laptop, 15.5-inch, upgraded it from i7 to i9. Now, I would have bought the i7 3 months ago, but no matter where it's advertised on Lazada or any other place on the internet, you either can't get it or it's out of stock. I even went to the entire process of buying the i7 on 2 different occasions. So the i7 is falsely advertised on Lazada as clickbait. So now they came out, they've always had the i9, but they upgraded the i9 to 2 terabytes. So why do I need $12,000 more? It's very simple. I'm running a legitimate scam, and here's the scam. I got 3,500 in one day in one request for one new computer. That's different than collecting less money than $3,500 in one day. Even if you do 100 videos mentioning that you need money for a new computer, sometimes you don't reach the $3,500 limit. Well, I have very good friends, and I've been fortunate enough to reach the $3,500 limit for a new computer in just one request on one live stream. And the rest of it trickled in as one-time donations in Patreon and also Super Chat. But $3,500 is just not enough. So in I'm almost afraid to say it. In an upcoming live stream, I'm going to request an additional $12,000, and here's where the legitimate scam comes in, because I'm being forthright with you. I want the $12,000 because I can't buy the computer in the Philippines. So what I want to do, and even if I could, it would still take 6 to 10 weeks to get here. But what I want to do, when Mr. Trump decides that the world is free to travel around, I want to get a plane ticket to go to China. First of all, I've never been to China. Second of all, I can go to China in a day or so, and if there's no quarantine, I can go to China, and I can go to ASUS China and buy the computer in China and bring it back in less than a week, which would be 6 or 7 weeks less than the time it would take for me to order it. And the problem with ordering it in the Philippines is all of the stores want 100,000 pesos for a deposit. That's $2,000. I don't think any of the stores are going to be in business in the time frame it would have taken to get the computer. Because back on May 28th, one of the stores that you see in the video asked me for 100,000 peso deposit, not refundable. You have to wait for the computer to come. That was May 28th. In the video I did at the ICM Mall, they still haven't been given one computer from any company anywhere in the world. So May 28th, June 28th, July 28th, and then August 10th. That's 10 weeks ago they wanted a deposit. And if everything opened up tomorrow, it would be 10 weeks before I got the computer. So all of these stories saying that I scammed you for your money, that's not true. And that's the kind of lies that have permeated through YouTube. So now I'm telling you, I got $3,500 US in one day, one live stream, one request. And now I'm going to supersede my needs so that I can supersede the monies so that I can eliminate the 10-week time frame. If, in fact, I gave the store 100,000 pesos, if they were still in business, because I did ask the manager of the store, how long will it be? And that, not just that store, but all stores said 4 to 6 weeks from Manila. But then Manila said 4 to 6 weeks, 3 to 5 weeks from their supplier. But their supplier don't have the computer, so it doesn't matter. So if I would have gave somebody 100,000 pesos on May 28th, they would still have my money. No refunds. And when I asked them what would happen to the money if the store went out of business, they laughed. They actually laughed. They actually laughed at my question because they knew the answer to the question. And when I said, what happens to my 100,000 pesos if I give it to you today on May 28th and your store goes out of business? The laughter that I got from the managers, period, plural, multiple managers, they laughed because the money, the only answer I got is the money would be in our bank account. That's it. There was no recourse to get the money from them. Stores closed, business closed, shuttered business, whatever they do, Chapter 13. I would have lost 100,000 pesos. So I have actually saved my subscribers 100,000 pesos because that's the kind of guy I am. I have saved you 100,000 pesos, and now I'm asking you for an additional 600, 700,000 pesos because I saved you 100. You should, the give and take thing. I gave you, you gave me, I saved you, you give me. That's the way it works. That's what's in the Bible. Better to give to Michael Fazio than for Michael Fazio to give to you, or in this case, the computer stores. So I saved you, you gave me, I saved you, I need more. It's only fair that you give me another $12,000, which is what I estimate, a trip to China, airline tickets back and forth, I still have to go get my clearance because you have to get an exit clearance. A trip to China. I also would like to, I'd like to see the Great Wall, and I'd like to see some other things. And I have a favorite Chinese restaurant that I've always read about. I'd like to go there as soon as they open this stuff up. I mean, it's the $12,000 covers everything, and the new computer, and plane fare, and hotels and expenses. So it's a trivial thing I ask of you. It's just 12,000 US dollars, and it can be easily transferred into my super chat, $1 at a time. And now we're going to go back to the notes. You guys don't have to donate big chunks. You don't have to donate $500 or $300. You don't have to have your credit card company asking you if that was a legitimate donation to Michael Fazio. Just $1 at a time. 12,000 $1 donations. It's all I need, and I can go pick up a computer when the novel Toyota Corolla virus disappears from the face of the flat earth. Michael is a 5-gallon can of gasoline, and Jack Thompson is a farmer match on it. Let's get ready to rumble. Jack Thompson, fire away. So we're gonna talk about getting all jacked up. Oh, Mr. Trump, I have not been. Wait, do you feel sheikish? Like I feel like a sheik. Yeah, Mr. Trump, you certainly kiss enough sheiks. Okay, there you go. Is Trump chic Trump? And getting jacked up. Every morning I try to call Jack Thompson to get all jacked up, because Jack gives me, it was Jack's idea for the $12,000 $1 super chats. We're going to give credit where credit is due. And if I get $12,000 $1 super chats, if I get that, you'll see it in the title. I'm going to say to Jack Thompson, thank you very much, because it's the least I can do, and that's the least I can do. And that's all I'm going to do is say thank you. Salamat. So let's get on with the show. Let's go back to we have Bono's. Oh, Bono's. It's not about the atmosphere. It's inertia. That's what they say, Bo. Nice to see you, host. Pinoy Ahoy. If you need a channel shouted out, Pinoy Ahoy will let you comment on his channel, and he will shout out your channel. Even if he doesn't know who you are, he will tell you and his audience and everybody that you have a great channel. Sometimes he tells the truth. Sometimes not. But we'll never know, because if we went to every channel that Pinoy Ahoy shouted out, you wouldn't have time to watch my live streams, my necessary and or positively comedic live streams. I'll be sure to reload my bank account for Friday. Jack Thompson, ready, aim, fire those $1 super chats. Just get that bank account reloaded. Jack Thompson says reload your bank account and prepare for an onslaught of $1 super chats. I think that would be a novel idea. We had Directo come through, lost power for a day. I finally wired a 2-breaker box in my garage, one to each bus in the box. Run the 30 amp out of the generator, turn off the main breaker. Yep, that would be how to do it. Yep, that would be it. What you really need to do, though, Scott, okay, you did it manually to wire your breaker when you have a blackout. You got to be, all right, there's one thing that you really have to be careful with, Scott, and I really mean this seriously. Okay, so you wired, you got to make sure that when the power goes out, you separate shore power or lead power from the circuit that's in your house if you're going to run a generator. Because and I don't know that you're going to run a generator, but I'm thinking that you are. If you're running a generator and the power goes out, you have to disconnect land or shore power from the wires. Because if you're running the generator and you by accident turn the power back on from land or shore power, you can blow up the diodes in the generator and pretty much render the unit useless. So be careful. Make sure that your generator is not connected to the power when the power goes back on. Now, there's something called an automatic electrical breaker that you can use for that. It's expensive. Typically, I've put in generators. Actually, when I worked for Windy Day Plumbing, with Rick, the foreman for the company, he had a general contractor's license, and we there was a little bit of a side business, not often, but in a lot of the houses we did the plumbing in, Rick would contract out an electrical power plant in an 8-inch cinder, 8-inch concrete block filled wall, and you had to store the diesel tank separate. But there's a switch that when the power goes off, the switch disconnects the land or shore power and only allows the generator power to go to the house. That switch, I don't have any idea what it costs. I would say a good one would cost upwards of $500, but I don't know the price of that. But be careful when you're disconnecting the power to your garage if you're running a generator, because if the generator is hooked to land or shore power and the power comes back on and you forget, you'll burn it up. Actually, it will just blow up. Okay, so the next comment, Scott is running a generator. Okay, just be careful with that. All right, Jack says to get to where he wants to be in Mike's world. Let's just call it Mike's world. We call it the world of the $1 super chats. To get to where Jack wants to be in Mike's world, he's going to have to tap into his inheritance. And I will give Jack permission now to start getting into his inheritance fund. Thank you very much for, and anybody else that needs permission, just throw up a comment on there and I will give you permission to tap into your inheritance for my needs of 12,000 $1 super chats. Jack's moving into the dollar territory. I can switch it on and off power fence around the property. 230 volts sends. I can switch it out and power the wire fence around my property with 7,000 watts. 230 volts sends those rioters to see Jesus in a sheet of flame and puff of smoke. I'm not sure how viable the United States would think that to be, but oh my God, we have trolls. What is this? The Lincoln, let's see. Dollar Friday, says Jack. Dollar days are here again, baby. That's right, Jack. Testing one. Okay, so let me get back to reading what the novel coronavirus is. So first, I'm going to give you the link for novel, the word novel. I'm not going to touch the camera, but it's a link. I'm going to put it out 3 times. Here we go. So I'm going to put the word novel, define. I always try to give you the skinny on what a word is and what they really mean by the word, and you're going to be surprised how the United States has hoodwinked you. Basically, they have hoodwinked you. So what we're going to do here is I'm going to have to copy this. I want to paste it 3 times. You have been hoodwinked, and hoodwinking is something I know about because I am about ready to hoodwink everybody into 12,000 individual hoodwinkings of $1 apiece. So it won't hurt much. It will give me great glory and great incentive to do my next legitimate scam, which I haven't figured out what it is yet, but I'm sure that I'll come up with something. So let's go to the word novel as a Google search engine, and let's read what the word novel means. A fictitious prose. Keyword there, fictitious. That means not necessarily the truth. A fictitious prose narrative of Brooklyn, typically representing character and action with some degree of realism. Not real, some degree of realism. So the novel Toyota Corolla virus has some degree of realism to it. Now, I got to tell you, you're not going to like the rest of these definitions, but I'm going to give you an example. So everybody knows what science fiction is, right? Well, novel is akin to the word fiction. So what does novel mean as an adjective? A new novel, an adjective. Adjective as the word novel. Novel as used as an adjective. New novel, original, fresh, meaning having recently come into existence or use. Okay, there we go. That's not true, but it is true. But it's not true, but it is true. Is it true, Mr. Trump? Not true, but true. See? Watch this. Mr. Trump talks out of both sides of his chic. The chic pink shink. True, but not true, says Mr. Trump puppet. Now, I'll finish reading what the adjective is. New, adjective, novel. New, novel, original, fresh. Mean having recently come into existence or use. Well, that's a big question. Is the Toyota Corolla virus new? Yes and no. The novel Toyota Corolla virus is new, but the Toyota Corolla virus has been around for 1,000 years, certainly for 50. And they've known about it, and they have manipulated it by putting on chrome wheels, chrome aluminum wheels, and custom leather interiors. They have manipulated the Toyota Corolla vehicle into something that it was never meant to be on a molecular, some might say genetic level. So, moving on. New may apply to what is freshly made and used, unused, new brick, or has not been known before. The designs or not experienced before. That's a lie, and that's the truth. So let me post that in the comments section. Let me post this in the comments section. I have to get rid of 14 letters. I think that's it. 3 more. 3 more. Oh boy. I got it. Okay, so I'm going to copy this. It's exactly 200 characters. I'm going to post it. Let's see what. Yep, it let me post 200 characters. Whoa. So this is what the word novel means. One definition as adjective. Okay, so I'm giving you guys information here. Pay attention, because every day now I told you about Operation Gilda and how the United States government lied to the Marshallese people and said they would be relocated back to their island in 2 weeks. And 75 years later, they were never relocated back to their island. Right, Mr. Trump? Yep. So 2 weeks is also what they said originally, how long, if you bought a brand new Toyota Corolla car, if you bought one new, and it would last 2 weeks, and then they would, think about giving you a new one. Well, that's why they use the word novel, new. They have a secondary event coming. Don't mismatch my words. Novel, new, secondary, and tertiary. There are 3 stages to build a car, and they're going to use all 3. And I could tell you that the gasoline or the fuel that will operate the Toyota Corolla vehicle is going to be, it's going to come from the gates of hell. That's where it's coming from. It's going to be coming from the gates of hell, this fuel. This fuel will come from the gates of hell and be put out and given freely worldwide. Do you know that in order to advertise for the gates of hell fuel for the Toyota Corolla updated version, secondary and tertiary versions of the Toyota Corolla, otherwise known as the Wiggle, Steve Montelli, the Wiggle, otherwise known as the Wiggle, this new fuel is going to come in 3 stages. If you don't have a car, well, they're going to offer you a free car. And if you don't have fuel for the car, they're going to give you a low energy fuel for the car that will guarantee that your car will start. And then once you get your car started, they want to give everybody high octane fuel, which will guarantee like a 60-pound blower on a 440 cubic inch Dodge Hemi engine, guaranteed to give you 1,500 horsepower, but only for 1 or 2 races. And then the car engine just fails. That's the plan. They're going to give you a free car. They're going to give you some low energy octane to put in the car, let you run around for a couple of years, and then they're going to come out with the high octane rating made specifically for 60 pounds of blower in a Dodge Hemi engine, or a 427 or a 327 or a 454, and blow your head gaskets away with this super powerful fuel direct from the gates of hell. This fuel comes from. It's like it had a pipeline from the gates of hell, from the gates of hell, the gates of hell. That's right, baby. You have to understand that this is just the beginning. Just the beginning. The Toyota Corolla manufacturing industry, otherwise known as, I'm at a loss for words, otherwise known as the powers that be in the automotive industry, of course, they are about ready to unleash a very low quality modified Toyota Corolla car that they wish to give everybody. And in a lot of cases, it'll be free, according to the Trump puppet administration. Right, Mr. Trump? Yep. And then after that, once you are, like candy to a baby, once you're given that, and nothing happens, man, they're gonna come out with the secondary. They're gonna roll out the secondary plan, the plot thickens sometime around November when it is what do they call that? Chimney season. Chimney season. Chimney is a thing that comes out of the top of the house where people used to burn wood for warmth, and inside the chimney is something called a flue. So the flue is where the smoke and the heat, most of the heat goes through. So they're about ready to come up with a secondary chimney version sometime around November, which will be the not so novel Toyota Corolla car that they're going to give you. And that'll be probably free, probably. Well, it won't exactly be free, because what Mr. Trump is going to do is he's going to subsidize the people that can't afford to get it. Remember back in the 80s and the 90s, when you went into a drugstore, they said free, you could get a free this or a free that, and they sat you down, they cleaned your arm up a little bit, and they poked you some stuff into your arm. It was free. It wasn't really free. It was subsidized by the United States government, and each pharmacy, for each free thing that they gave out, was subsidized $40. This goes back into the 80s. In the year 2004 or 2003, they did it again. And I remember the pharmacy by my house. I talked to the pharmacist because he was my partner at the time. He said that the pharmacy got subsidized $60 for every free medical advancement that they gave you. So it wasn't really free. The government gave the pharmaceutical companies $60 to give you that free stuff. Well, from the gates of hell won't be much different. In fact, each free sample will cost the government about, well, on the boards, $100, but it could be more, could be less, could be much more, could be a little less, but it won't be a lot less, but it could be much more. And each person, every person on the flat earth, and they know exactly where everybody is, or they will once they give out the free donations. Each person on the flat earth, each person, every person on the flat earth is going to be administered by Mr. Trump, right? That's right. That was a long answer, Mr. Trump. We've been very, very, very shy today. Yep. Okay, so each person is going to get a free, subsidized, helpful thing. And then the gates of hell will be reimbursed for approximately $100. So if there are 7 billion people on the flat earth, and there are, that's what they say anyway, who knows? And if there are, oh, by the way, I think 1,000 women and children go missing every year that the newspapers don't report. What's up with that? So each person on the flat earth, that's 7 billion, according to Mr. Trump, he's going to help everybody. Mr. Trump, he's there. He's like the government. He is the government. He's going to help everybody get the free samples from the gates of hell, and then reimburse the gates of hell itself for $700 billion. Baby, who's better than Mr. Trump? And of course, he won't accept responsibility or paybacks for any of that. I mean, he's just paying it forward, baby, paying it forward. We're giving it to you before you give it to us, because he knows that's possible too. He knows that's possible too. He's keeping all of that in check. So, Mr. Trump, we have the Trump puppet. I'm going to post that for the last time. And then I'm going to my dissertation. Let go over here. Sit down, Mr. Trump. And he's the sheik, Trump sheik today. Hold on a second. Let me get Mr. Trump right now. All right, he's a little clumsy today. Trump sheik. Sheik Trump. Yeah, baby. Sheik Trump. Let me get back to my notes, and I'm going to just read, and then I'm going to be ending live stream when I'm done reading. Back to the word novel. I only have one definition so far. Let me get a little drink of water here. Something too big. Ha! I thought there was some guy not so familiar with the English language. Too big is known as H2O. What did he call it? G2? That was funny. So, what does novel mean? What is novel example? Let's try that one. These works have become classics because they are considered examples of the novel form. And then it goes on to give you some examples. I'm going to read this one. I might post this one. Is a novel fiction? All novels are fiction, but not all fiction is a novel. This is a term used for a fictional story of a certain length. Okay, so all novels are fiction. I'm just going to post that part of it. The link I provided to you before will bring you to the page. You can read what the word novel means. Graham, good morning. Welcome to the machine. Thank you for stopping by. Graham has been a very long-term subscriber and friend of mine on YouTube that typically is watching in the background, but today he decided to say hello, so we thank Graham. Thank you for stopping by. Welcome to the machine, Graham. He's been with me for many, many, many years. Thank you, Graham. And let's go back to the definitions as described in the Google link. Remember that Mr. Trump is the sheik because he represents big energy companies and also the AMA and the OWM than any other president. And why does Mr. Trump represent what is possibly known as secret societies? Well, and more specifically, his inner circle. We've talked about his inner circle before, in the fact that most of his inner circle are from dual citizens to the great state of Israel. Why does he represent these people to such a high degree? Well, what people forget, what they have a tendency to forget, is that years ago, we're talking tit for tat here. We're talking tit for tat with Mr. Trump. Big time tit for tat. Years ago, Mr. Trump, I don't know how he did it, but he went bankrupt. He filed Chapter 13. He lost those places where you throw money in the machines, the one-armed bandit, casinos, gambling casinos. He lost one or two or three of those, or was in a jeopardy of losing those. He was in jeopardy of losing some of his buildings and some of his properties. But basically, Mr. Trump went into debt for they said 8 billion, some said 10 billion, some said 13 billion. Whatever it was, somebody bailed him out. And usually those people that bail them out, their last names don't end, although sometimes they end in a vowel. But like Shapiro is not an Italian name, by the way. So that's Shapiro would be considered a Jewish name. So not all Jewish people have names that don't end in a vowel, but most Jewish people have names that don't end in a vowel. So you can't go with the vowel theory, but Mr. Trump was bailed out by the non-vowel people, last name ending in non-vowels. And when they bailed out Mr. Trump, they said, tit for tat, Mr. Trump. And Mr. Trump said, I'm all ears. All ears. Did I hear ears? Mr. Obama, how you doing? Woo, woo, woo. I lost my Obama puppet. I'm all ears. Mr. Obama, how are you today? I'm all ears. I'm listening. Okay, you want to say anything? Just one thing. Steve Montelli. Remember, Steve, I don't have any lights for the hotel, but I'm going to leave a nut out for you, Steve Montelli. I love you, Steve Montelli. So, Mr. Obama made a special guest appearance. So let's talk about the let's go back to Mr. Trump owing a tit-for-tat favor to the non-vowel people of the world, but not all of the Jewish persuasion end in Steinmetz or a Z or an N or U or something like that. No, not all of them. But a lot of Mr. Trump's inner circle are dual citizens to the great state of Israel, which most people don't know, and especially his immediate family. Quite a few of his immediate family are dual citizens or married to dual citizens or citizens of Israel. So what we have is next meaning. What are the two meanings of novel? That's a good one. The novel describes a book-length work of fiction. So it's basically a story about bakakun, lies, half-truths, deception, and or not true. That's what it is. A novel in simple words. Novels are books that have one long story written in them. They are works of prose fiction. Prose fiction. Look it up. What are the 5 elements of a novel? Story has 5 basic but important elements. This is a story. A novel is a story. It's not non-fiction. It's fiction. Science fiction. Novel. Corolla. Novel Corolla Toyota vehicles. Fiction. These 5 components are the characters, the setting, the plot, the conflict, and the resolution. Whoa, doesn't the car manufacturer, Toyota Corolla, don't they have all of these basic tenets in their storyline? They do. A story has 5 basic but important elements. These 5 components are the characters. And we have some characters running this particular setting. The setting is the Toyota Corolla automobile updates. The plot, as in the plot thickens. The conflict, whoa, there be conflict. And the resolution or the solution. Direct from the gates of hell, the solution will be free for all, baby. And now I have to find another one, and then I'm going to go back to my show notes. What is the main purpose of a novel? A novel is a piece of long narrative in literary prose. Narrative prose means to entertain, to tell a story. A novel is a long narrative. This is the bakakwan, the long story. In literary prose, narrative prose is meant to entertain and tell a story. It is a description of a chain of events which includes a cast of characters, a setting, and an ending. Novel. Let me get that up into the show notes. And here we are. Oh, 250. Oh, boy. I'll just cut off the beginning of that. And we're down to 189. That'll get me. Okay, so we're going to copy that. We're going to post that 3 times. A novel is a literary prose. It's not the truth. It's a story. It consists of characters, a setting, and a plot, which is more important to anything. And I'm going to go back to the good morning, Michael, and everyone from Graham. Thank you, Graham, for saying hello. These people, they are writing a novel, and this is stage 1. Stage 1. Stage 2 comes when the chimneys in the fall start blowing smoke up the flue. Stage 2 is when the chimneys come into existence in the fall, and the people make the heat and go up into the flues, up into the sky. The heat goes from the chimneys in stage 2. Factually correct historical events are shunned by today's generation. Whoa, those are big words, Graham. That's why I did the live stream on Operation Gilda and how the United States government assured the people of the Marshallese Island they'd be back in their homes 2 weeks later. And 75 years, the shores of the Marshallese Islands, most, if not all, of them are contaminated till this day with radiation. Some islands, you can only go to the island for about 2 hours, some a few days, some 9 hours, and some not at all. They don't like the truth, Graham. Graham goes on to say, factually correct historical events are shunned by today's generation. Even recent events become issues that are not to be discussed. It is as if people today are frightened of the truth. Whoa! The truth will set you free. And the truth, as Stephen Molyneux and that sham of a human being, Alex Jones, and the other sham of a human being, we won't mention his name. The truth will set you free, as they will find out and have found out. Do you know that I never liked Stephen Molyneux? I'm never going to say a good word about him, except that his storylines and his live streams, feeds, and videos were probably 70% based on accurate truth. Although he wouldn't touch certain stories, he was afraid of the truth. So one day, Stephen Molyneux, who had 1 million subscribers, deservedly got thrown off of YouTube. Not for what he said that day, but because he wouldn't talk about the truth for how many years so he could build up his subscriber base. I never liked Stephen Molyneux. I never will like Stephen Molyneux because I followed him from the beginning and he never told the truth about certain things. He avoided certain things like the plague so that he could build up his subscriber base to believe that he could be invincible. And then one day, as Graham said, he told the truth. And how did he tell the truth? Not by a dissertation, not by comedy, not by satire, and not by commentary. He opened up the statistics from certain U.S. government statistical charts. That's all I'm going to say. And he read the statistics directly from the 3-letter agencies that posted those charts. That's all he did. All he did. He didn't do anything else. He didn't embellish. He didn't admonish. He didn't add to. He didn't ad lib. All he did was read the statistics from some of the 3-letter agencies that are sponsored by the United States government and here to help, by the way. And his channel, whilst he was on live stream, I believe it was shut off only for reading the statistics. And an hour later, 1 million of his subscribers stopped getting a feed. 1.1 million. And on Twitter, I think the same thing. And then I'm not sure if he got banned on Facebook. Someone might want to tell me that. But his YouTube account and his Twitter account was eliminated in 45 minutes of one another. And he didn't lie, he didn't embellish, admonish, didn't make any satire, didn't make any quips in the dissertation. He was just removed from social media because he told, according to the statistics, I don't know if they were true, I don't read that kind of crap, but according to the statistics he was reading and showing you the graphs on his channel, he got banned from social media. Hippie Island, that's a new one. And We've never seen Hippie Island before, so pay close attention to Hippie Island. He could be, she could be a plant. What do you think, Mr. Trump? Yep. Okay, so the truth, even though I just told you the truth, and I told you the truth in my first live stream today, and I will continue to tell the truth in the most adverse way, obscure way, using metaphors and total nonsense sometimes to describe the truth. The only thing that you need to remember in today's live stream is that on Friday, and then I'm going to end this thing. On Friday, I'll reiterate, I collected $3,500 US for my new Asus ZenBook Pro Duo 15.5-inch touchscreen 1 terabyte i7 computer. However, at the time, they did have an i9, which was $4,000. So I decided that I would add $500 from my money into my subscribers' hard-earned cash that I, according to some people, I legitimately scammed them out of. I forced them somehow to send me stupid chat to the utmost level. So in one day, after all trickled in, $3,500 was legitimately scammed from my subscribers, which means I earned it the old-fashioned way. I ran the first legitimate scam on YouTube. For that alone, I should be world-renowned and famous, even more so than I already might be. However, the legitimate scam continues in that the $3,500 is never enough for a new computer. So what I wanted to do is upgrade it to the the Asus ZenBook Pro Duo i9 with a 2 terabyte hard drive and 32 gigs of RAM and memory. But that computer is now at $5,000. So I'm not asking you for the other $1,500, at least not outright. What I am going to do is I'm going to run some legitimate scams over the course of the next few weeks. And what I want everybody to do is load up their bank account and or their credit cards, or however you send money through PayPal. And I mean, not PayPal, Stupid Chat, as I adds Super Chat. I want you to load up those bank cards. And what I want to do is I want to get 1,000, even when I'm running a legitimate scam, even I get confused. I want to get 12,000 $1 Super Chats. This way, it's like the death of 1,000 cuts. Each one individually won't hurt your bank account. But if you decide to give me 12,000 $1 Super Chats, your bank account might be in jeopardy of faltering. So what I want you to understand is that the next legitimate scam is going to be for $1 Super Chats. But I want 12,000 $1 Super Chats. Now, I'm not just going to just take that money and buy a $500 computer like some people believe. No. I'm going to take that $12,000, $1 at a time. I don't care how many pages of Super Chat and how many shout-outs I got to give. Everybody gets a shout-out. You don't get anything else. It's going to be like a Steve Montelli show where Steve says, if you give me money, I take that money, I put it in my pocket. You get nothing. That's Steve Montelli's, that's his idea of wordsmithing. Steve Montelli says, if you give me Super Chat, I put it in my pocket, you get nothing. You get your comment read. And that's all you get. You don't get anything else. So in following the great Steve Montelli's mindset, if you give me $12,001 super chats, I'm going to take the $3,500 that I already collected for the computer, upgrade the computer by adding another $1,500 from the $12,000 super chats, $1 super chats. So that will leave me with $10,500 in excess of what I need. But here's what you're going to get. You're going to get videos of me in China, flying in China, even if I have to go into quarantine in China. You're going to get videos of the quarantine hotel. And then I'm going to take the $10,500 and put it towards my trip to China. Because right now, the stores want $100,000 peso deposit with no guarantee when the computer comes. But if you give me $12,001 super chats, I can go to China. I can go into quarantine for 14 days. I can go to the store in China that sells the computer. I can buy the computer over the counter at the store. I can go back to the Great Wall of China, or go to the Great Wall of China, make a video there for my subscribers, make a video at the big Grumman's Chinese restaurant. That's in New York. I don't think I'll do that. But there got to be a famous Chinese. I'll go to I'll find a Chinese restaurant there. I don't care if there's one not famous, I'll make it famous. I'll go there and make a video. Anyway, I can go to China with that $10,500, go into quarantine, go back to the airport, go back to Manila into quarantine, then come back to Bohol, all with that additional $10,500. All in $1 super chats. It would be like the debt of 1,000 cuts, but not. It won't be painful. It's not like those painful super chats that Nomad Patriot donated to my page the other day. $100, $50, $100 from Warren, $100 from Warren, $50 from Warren, 20, 10s, 5s, dozens of 1s and 2s and 3s and 4s and 5s and 7s and 9s and 15s and 20s. This week, I have the unfortunate news of telling you that when I submit my tax paperwork to the Bureau of Internal Revenue for the month of July, when the tax revenue starts for the month of August, I'm going to owe taxes in excess of it. I got to tell you, I don't want to say the amount, but I'm going to owe taxes on a lot of money. And that's thanks to you. And I'm very proud that you are now contributing to the Philippines Tax Administration so that we can maintain a level of stability here in the Philippines. So every time you donate money to me in Super Chat, you're helping the Philippines community. Never mind having funds for this, that, and the other thing where the money never gets there. Just send me your dollars. And I'll make sure that my quarterly report is accurate and pay the taxes on the money that you give me. And when you give me that money, I'll make sure my quarterly report is accurate according to my books and my records. You have to fill out a quarterly report. When my quarterly report is upgraded on the first quarter, I'm going to tell you something. You people can be proud of yourselves because you will have contributed a lot of damn money to the Philippines community via taxes. And one thing we need here in the Philippines is big bucks. Big bucks. We need some money here. We need to get the economy going, and one way to get the economy going is to donate money to my new legitimate scam. That's one of the best ways that I know of. Now, there are other ways. I mean, you could just send your money randomly to, you could buy, I don't know, you could buy some kind of foods. I got to tell you, I read the newspapers, the PhilHealth. the people that have donated large sums of money to the food banks and or large sums of food to the food banks, they're having great difficulty figuring out how and to who to distribute the money to. I don't want to deal with any of that stuff. I just want your dollars so that I can give it to the authorities of the Philippines in the form of tax at the end of all my quarters and give them their due. And then you can feel secure and comfortable, and if it warms the cockles of your heart, you can say, I did my part. I gave to the Philippines Bureau of Internal Revenue. Yeah, baby. Yeah, baby. You can be part of the Philippines community indirectly by sending me your dollars. Baby, every day I come up with a legitimate scam, but today I think I outdid myself. Quote me on that. I support this dissertation. Whoa, from Andrew Steinmetz. Now, there's a Jewish name if I ever heard one, and a long-term friend. Oh, another boring week. How should we address another boring week? Another boring week. This is a big one. Pay attention. Okay, I won't tell you his name, but he has a voice. We'll just describe his channel a little bit, but who he really is in real life. So the first thing and primary fact of another boring week is that without his urging me to go on YouTube and to create a monetized channel, I would not have done so. He came on to my channel one day and said, you're getting 13,000 views a day on your video. And I said to him, is that a lot? And he goes, yeah, that's a lot. You need to monetize your channel. So another boring week is the reason I became monetized in the first place. And because of another boring week, for a long time, I collected somewhere between $120 and $225 a day in super chat monies. So that's the first and primary thing that comes to mind, that he was a person that made me become monetized. Now, the secondary reason is another boring week is a Bono's Entertainment type channel where he was giving out the news. But his voice is probably one of the best newscaster's voice I've ever heard. There is no reason on earth that another boring week shouldn't be in a newscasting room with a voice like that. He buries most of the newscaster voices, plus his pronunciation and ability to read the English language and speak the English language is far superior than that of most newscasters. However, Jeff, which is his real name, Jeff only talks about the truth. He never talked about fictional nonsense. Therefore, Jeff's channel never took off. So whenever he did a live show, an upload about something that was truthful, he got 100 views, 200 views. And that's why my channel took off, because everybody thought the pictures on the dollar bill was some kind of hallucination, but they realized now it's not. And once Google realized it wasn't, they shut me down. And then I started again. And the same video that was getting 13,000 views a day, now in 8 years, Jeff, another boring week, in 8 years, 8 years, I say, 8 years, the video that was getting 13,000 views a day, one view every 0.4 seconds, now has 1,800 views in 8 years total. I haven't received a comment on that video. One I received 2 weeks ago, and the comment was, why aren't there any comments on this video? All the other comments from 8 years back removed. However, it has multiple thumbs up and multiple thumbs down, but no comments. 1,800 views. I looked at the statistical chart of that video. It received 1 view in 4 months, and that was the view from the man who left the comment. So what was getting 13,000 views a day, Owl on the dollar bill, now gets 1 view every 4 months. And they removed all the comments. That's who Another Boring Week is. I just saw your name on Skype just last night at about 3 o'clock in the morning. It's odd that you should come here today. Psychic. He's always been psychic, Jeff. Always has been. Let's see. Another Boring Week. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. YouTube is just looking. They are looking every day. They scour my channel. Every day they reduce. Jeff, every day I go to my statistics. Every month I gain 40 to 60 or 80 subscribers every month for 18 months. In 18 months, I have a total of 100 new. It went from 20,000 subscribers. Excuse me. It went from 19,000 subscribers, 19,800 subscribers. So that's 200 subscribers away from 20,000 subscribers. It went in 18 months of receiving anywhere from 50 to 80 subscribers a month. I gained 100 subscribers in 18 months, even though every month I get 50. But every month my view counts go down 10%. So the more subscribers I get, the less views I get. When I used to make $125 to $225 a day in AdSense, now I make anywhere from 60 cents, 30 pesos, to 80 pesos or $1.60. So what was $120 a day is now $1.60 a day. My previous month, I got 24,000 views in a month. This month, I got 22,000 views. Every month, they reduce my views by 10%. It's death by attrition. It reminds me of, gotta tell you, this is the way the people that run this flat earth, this is the way they work. They are instituting death of 1,000 cuts. A little bit here, a little bit there, a little bit here, a little bit there, a little bit here. So there was a show called Stargate SG-1. Every time I mention the show, Google shuts me down, but I can't mention the name of the show, but I'll mention it was in season 10. I think it was the 10th show. But so 10 in numerology means it's something that's truthful. That's what I've come to the conclusion. But either way, it was about an advanced race of beings that were giving the flat earth. They said it was the planet Earth, but this advanced, the Ashin, the Ashin, ASHIN, the Ashin was the name of, you can Google Stargate Atlantis. Someone wants to put the link up for the Ashin, Stargate Atlantic season 10. They came into contact by accident, this advanced race of beings. And the advanced race of beings from basically the gates of hell decided to help Earth and cure all the diseases on Earth, every disease. Nobody was going to be born blind and there would be no more autism, none of that stuff. They were going to cure it all, and they would do so by giving you the this magical Toyota Corolla type savior of the vicination genere. So the Ashin, but listen to the word Ashin, the Ashin. The Ashin sounds like a sin, a sin. However, the Ashin, by definition, if you break the word down and you go through the Latin terminology of the Ashin, it means traitor. But I won't get into the Latin aspect and or the genealogy of the word. It's not a good thing. But it doesn't say though that word exactly. But basically it means treacherous. So the Ashin or Ashin, as I forget the name of the show, the Ashin, we're going to give the world, aka the flat earth, this magical vicination that's equal to the Toyota Corolla new models from the gates of hell itself. So, and what Samantha Carter, who she wanted to have a baby. She wanted to have a baby, and she was trying to have a baby with her husband, and she couldn't have a baby. So she went to Janet. Janet was the other doctor, and they did a test. And Janet said that you're fertile, and Samantha says that's not possible. Janet said, "Well, you're fertile." So they did. Samantha had to do some nefarious stuff to get on to be able to use the Ashin's supercomputer that would figure everything out. And when she did that, she discovered that the Ashin and their magical gates of hell vicination type of thing was reducing female and male species of the flat earth, reducing their ability to have a child by 10% a year. So that in 10 years, basically, no one would be able to reproduce. I think that was the number. Seemed like 10, it was season 10, episode 10, and I think it was 10 years, or no, not 10, in 100 years. Okay, it was 100 years. So every 10 years, you would be reduced 10%. Well, that's what, and it was a death of 1,000 cuts, which at the end of the movie, the laser beams showed you a death of 1,000 cuts by a death of 1,000 laser slices in the people that were trying to slave the earth. So basically, because of this magical cure from the Ashin, all disease and viruses were all completely eliminated from the flat earth. And from all the other worlds that they conquered. They were reducing the population so that they could take over the world, because these people lived for centuries, apparently. So, from the gates of hell, from the Ashin, and from the Fazio, you've heard it here first. Let's get back to another boring week. Okay, that might happen, Jeff. I could do that. It would be interesting. If it doesn't happen today, I'll send you a message. It'd be interesting to say hello to you again. Jeff also was a man who lived in the Florida Keys, and his family had a big store down there. So we have some things in common, but he is the man responsible for me being the man on YouTube that I am today. And we thank you, everybody, for coming to the live stream. And I'm going to end this. I usually do something really stupid, so let me go back to something not so stupid. Oh, let's go back to the days of when you were a Boy Scout. I got to tell you, I'm going through, I'm looking for a scraper in my toolbox. Thank you very much, Jeff. I'm the smartest man he knows. That, you know how many people say that? Thank you so much. It's actually quite the compliment because they mean it. They actually mean it. I see a lot of live streams. I see a lot of shows, and you don't hear the people in the live streams saying that you're the smartest man I know on a lot of the other live streams. I watched the live stream. I watched 2 live streams last night. I went off the reservation last night, and I watched some of the worst garbage I have ever seen posted in the YouTube community. I watched one live stream, and it wasn't 45 minutes. And not a single intelligent thing was said. It was all back and forth, blah, blah, blah. Why would grown men talk about nonsense for 45 minutes? I just turned it off. I went to another one. Same thing. Only that live stream, thank God, was only a shorter version of the same nothingness on their live stream. So let's talk about 2 things that are real. As a Patreon member, you will see private videos of me working on equipment and tools, not necessarily in that order. And the things I own, I do my own repairs on. Hopefully I can get these parts that are in this box. And these parts are from an Echo leaf blower. Now, let me tell you what the problem with the leaf blower was, and I'll tell you what I learned from watching YouTube videos and what I found to be truthful from YouTube videos by a man that fixes 2-cycle engines. So inside this box is the last 3 components of a muffler for an Echo leaf blower. It's a heat shroud panel about 4 inches wide and 5 inches high. It's a kind of graphite asbestos galvanized metal shroud. That's what they had to make it out of to get the asbestos and the graphite to stick to the metal. It's a very soft metal. Well, that's rusted through. And that guides the airflow. It's called a baffle, B-A-F-F-L-E, baffle. That's a baffle that directs the airflow down away from the plastic shroud. That's one baffle that was completely gone, just broken into pieces. So in order to get that baffle plate and what was left of it off, you had to take out 4 stainless steel screws for an exhaust deflector. I guess I should just show it to you so that you know what I'm talking about. I could do that. Okay. I'll show you what the parts look like, and if any of those, what we call the people that have no mechanical ability and believe that I have no mechanical ability, and those people who have no mechanical ability and believe I have no mechanical ability or skills, how wrong they really are. So let's go here. Let's pull this out. First of all, this is how I keep my parts. This is a carburetor, and it's got masking tape on the intake and exhaust. I'll tell you what the problem was with this in a minute. Then here are the exhaust parts. Okay, so this gray piece that you see is the graphite asbestos baffle plate, and the reason for the masking tape is to hold it in the figure that it was meant to be when it was built. And it's disintegrated to the point where it might have lasted another day, hour, or a month, but it would have blew out the bottom of the engine from the cowling in a short period of time. Then we have what is known as a deflector. This is the last place that the deflector deflects the flow of air from out to outside the baffling or the shroud of the blower. But underneath here, I have a product. It's called a screen, S-C-R-E-E-N. If you have a two-cycle engine and your engine starts up and idles properly, but then when you give it full throttle, it won't go much past another few percentages of power. Sometimes inside the muffler is rust. So when the machine is at idle, the rust falls off the screen. When you start the machine up, the rust clogs up the screen, and it acts like the old story about sticking a potato in a tailpipe of an automobile. The tailpipe won't allow the exhaust to go through, and therefore it won't allow air to go into the venturi of the carburetor. I've never seen it work in real life, but I've heard stories about that. But basically, you're shutting off the air exhaust from an engine. So this screen on a two-cycle engine, it shuts off the ability for the air to come in to what is known as the reed valves, R-E-E-D valves. That's how a two-cycle engine works. It doesn't work with valves necessarily. They're reed valves. So anyway, on my engine, it would start up, it would get full power for about, it would get 60% power for about a minute or less, and then it would be reduced to about 30% power or less than that. So when I took the screen and the exhaust off, there's 4 screws. I showed you how to take them off. This is only done on my Patreon account. I go into great detail. I'll show you what tools to use. I show you how to clean the products and how to store the product so that if you don't get back to the engine in 2 or 3 months or a year, if you can't get the parts, you'll know where it is. And this is the way to do it, by putting a wire through this product and keeping these parts in order, and then marking them with arrows so that every arrow only goes up or to the right. Either arrows go up or to the right. Okay. The screen, when I took the screen and this directional baffle off the back of the machine, the screen was clogged 5%. You could see clogged, but there was some rust dust inside the muffler. Maybe at most it would have clogged 15 or 20%. However, when I took the screen and the last deflector baffle off and started the machine, it gave me 30% power, which was gave me 60% power for a minute, 30% power thereafter. I never got 30% power before. I would get 60%, it would go down to 20%. Maybe it was 35% I was getting yesterday. So without the screen, it gave me another 15%. But that's not full power. So it had to be something else. So these carburetors, this is the whole carburetor. It's not big at all. They have a rubber. It's called the fuel button. It's a primer, fuel primer. You push this button down. Now, if you notice, if you can see it, it's cracked. There's nothing left of it. So that was one problem. But I don't think this in and of itself, by itself, stopped the other 70% of the power. We'll know when I get a new one. They cost about $30. But this bubble that you're going to see right now, this bubble is definitely broke. There's nothing left to the bubble. And that happened as soon as I primed the machine to start it. Although the machine would still run, fuel will leak out of the bottom of this. It was leaking on my foot. So that was one problem. Secondary problem is this valve here, this tube, this tube, the brass colored tube, is fuel intake into the carburetor. That is a suction tube caused by the Venturi principle inside the Venturi of the carburetor. That seemed to be sealed properly, but it had no hose band on it, so it could be leaking air in from sideways from the tube. And the secondary, that's an overflow. You might be able to see it. Okay, the secondary and smaller tube is for whatever comes into the carburetor that's not used, goes back into the tank. So the tube that went back into the tank, that tube was hardened and loose in the tank, going into the tank. So it wasn't maintaining the seal it was supposed to be meant for. Now, there's a problem with that. Number one, the problem is when you tip the machine over, when you're walking up or down a ladder or a mountain, out of that tube hole, or where the tube goes in, it was so loose that gas would come out of the tube, around the outside of the tube. So you lose in fuel, especially when you put the machine on your back, you tip it on a 45-degree angle, fuel came out. So that was one problem. The second problem is that tube is supposed to be pressurized or solid, a solid seal. And the reason it's a solid seal is because some back pressure goes into the tank on some two-cycle engines, which causes a positive pressure in the gas tank. And that positive pressure supplies additional fuel, kind of like a fuel pump on a car or a blower where it blows more air. So that tube was loose, allowing air to escape, pressurized air to escape. And it was also allowing gas to fall out when you mounted the backpack on your back. So that's the kind of videos I do on my Patreon page. Whether or not you people want to believe that I have any kind of mechanical skills, one thing I will tell you is that people who have no mechanical skills cannot judge me whether or not I have mechanical skills or not, because it would be like me making judgment on something I know nothing about. I got to tell you, if and when NASA ever decides to ask me to help them figure out how many microsieverts or how many rads or REMs are in what's the name of that place where the radiation, the Van Allen belts, I got to tell you, I don't know the formulas for that stuff. I don't know that stuff. So if NASA ever decides to call up Michael Fazio and ask him for the help with the rads and REMs, if astronauts can go through that, I can't tell them that. All I know is that there are so many theories about the Van Allen belts. They range from, if you have a spacesuit on, you can go through the Van Allen belt if you're in there for less than 2 hours. That's one story. And there's another story that you need 6 inches to 3 feet of lead to shield you from the Van Allen belt. I don't know which one of those is true. But that's not what the point that I was getting to. I was getting to my Boy Scout days. LaRue Segrest is in the house. Welcome to the machine. Another boring week says it's not funny, but it's true. It is true. Nice. Hello, host. LaRue, my favorite God-fearing member of the community. Knowing that Jack Thompson would show up, he does show up as I start clapping. LaRue Segrest is one of God's chosen people to spread the word of the Lord God. She is a firm believer in none other than the Bible and Jesus and the church, and we give her kudos for her firm and staunch beliefs and her love for Jack Thompson and his love for LaRue Seagrass. Welcome, LaRue. Typically, LaRue will do ironing and cloths and cleaning and store sorting stuff out from the stores while she's watching my live streams, make multiple comments and commentaries. Welcome to the machine, LaRue. And now we're going to go to an epic topic. Then I got nothing else to do. It's raining out, by the way. If you look at the map of Bohol, we're having a freaking storm like you wouldn't believe. I'm looking at the trees going like this and like that. It reminds me of some of the bloggers that are on YouTube. With the way they go from here to over here and back over to here. And the concept of this and the concept, and they never did any real research. They go like this and like that. Like this and like that. Now we're going to talk about Boy Scout. I don't know if I should talk about my Boy Scout days. I was never a Boy Scout, but I was involved with the Boy Scouts. I gotta tell you, I'm not real sure I want to talk about the Boy Scouts now. I have a story about a Boy Scout, being a Boy Scout. If you remember, when you were a Boy Scout, you had to learn all kinds of stuff to get your honor badges. I did some of that stuff, not all of it. Now I think I'll tell my Boy Scout story next week on Friday. Yeah, maybe I'll start off my storyline on Friday. Remember, I'm running a legitimate scam here. You know that I'm running a legitimate scam. If I have the fedora on, which I have the fedora off now, but the legitimate scam is on. I've already made mention of it. I need you to super chat me 12,000 times $1 super chats. We'll call it the death of 1,000 super chats. And with that, I'm going to take 1,500, put it towards the 3,500 and buy the Asus Pro Duo ZenBook i9. And I'll have $10,500 left over to go to China and see the Great Wall of China and buy the Asus and bring it back. So I'm running a legitimate scam, and I'll make it clear as day. The fedora is on. I'm running a legitimate scam. I want you to give me $12,000 in $1 super chats. Who's running a legitimate scam? Michael Fazio's running. Who runs the best legitimate scam? Michael Fazio. Who runs the only legitimate scam on YouTube? Michael Fazio. And who somehow magically has the ability to make people send me money when I do a legitimate scam? Michael Fazio. I watch other people cry about me running a legitimate scam. Why? I invented the legitimate scam. When you invent stuff, you get stuff, and in this case, dollars. I'm the inventor of a legitimate scam. I invented running a legitimate scam. Therefore, I deserve money, cash, but not in the form of cash, in the form of super chat. And for those of you who have donated more than $100 over the years, which are many, we call it stupid chat. Not because you're stupid, but because it's a stupid amount of money to give a guy that's running a legitimate scam. Now, if you'll notice, there are other people that are also running legitimate scams. I won't mention their names. However, there are people more successful and less successful in their quest to run a legitimate scam. There are people running legitimate scams 2 or 3 times a week, just like me. Don't make any bones about it. They are legitimate scams. They give people their time and their knowledge, and they give people the ability to vent on YouTube, and they earn money because they're running a legitimate scam. Me, on the other hand, I have more of a tendency to run a legitimate scam because, like Steve Montelli, for your dollars, when you donate to Steve Montelli, the great Steve Montelli, he will tell you right up front, you give me money, I put it in my pocket, you get nothing. That's Steve Montelli's that's his motive of operation. You give me money, I put it in my pocket, you get nothing. Sometimes I read your comment, but other than that, you get nothing. You don't get a wallet, you don't get a bag, you don't get nothing. You don't get nothing at all from him. You don't get pictures, you don't get nothing. Steve Montelli is running a legitimate scam, and a well-oiled legitimate scam. Other people are running legitimate scams. Now, Steve Montelli got a $100 donation a few weeks ago. God bless Steve Montelli. Boy, I gotta say, when I saw that red, I'm going, oh my God. And then if you take notice, if I could show it to you, I don't have to beat around the bush. Jeff, you'll like this if I can find that video. I have it right here. The spice. No, not that one. I can't put that one up there. Jesus speaks on the greatest liar who ever lived. Yep, that's the video. Now, in that video, running a legitimate scam as I do so well, in that video, $2 and $5 donations. They were hitting me left and right, $10 donations. And then along comes this guy, Nomad Patriot, who loves giving me money and throws $100, a red on the board, $100 super chat. Oh my God, when I saw that, I'm going, now this is a legitimate scam, baby. I am now in the legitimate scam business of running legitimate. Now, I lie. Sometimes I lie. It's all part of running a legitimate scam. Lying, legitimate scams, and not doing what I say. Like I said, I would buy a computer. Didn't I say I would buy? But I can't buy a computer. Therefore, I get stories about me that I scam my people. I scam my friends. I scam my subscriber base. Of course, I made them give me the money. GE Northcote, 250 lira, $315. I made him give me that money. Warren, I made him give me that money. Let me put this on. I'm going to show you what I made people give me on this video. Well, I'm going to see if I can that timestamp. Oh, here it is. Oh, here it is. Let me just stop this video. Let me stop the videotape. You want to see a man who runs a legitimate scam? Well, here it is, baby. Here it is. Got to be careful. This, my friends, is a legitimate scam. This is Jesus speaks on the greatest liar who ever lived the life of YouTube, risking the mangack ass whooping. And here we have a legitimate scam. We have a $50 donation from Nomad Patriot. Then we have a $100 donation from Warren H. Then we have another $100 donation from Warren H. Then if we click over to the right, we have another $100 donation from Nomad Patriot. What you just saw there was 4 super chats totaling $350. If that's not a legitimate scam, let me show it to you again. You have a $50 donation from Nomad Patriot, a $100 donation from Warren H., a $100 donation from Warren H., and we'll slide it over, and you'll see another $100 donation from Nomad Patriot. That, my friends, is the culmination of years of hard work and scamming legitimately. So let me show you how I did this. I said nothing about Super Chat or send me Super Chat money. I didn't mention it 1,000 times in a month. I didn't ask 1,000 times for Super Chat. I didn't mention it, hint about it, send innuendos, and I didn't say I need the money. All I did was a live stream, and people felt it necessary to give me money without me asking. In fact, even some of the donations, that was just the 3 that I have on the board for that day at that time. That all happened in about 4 minutes. So basically, I collected $350 in 4 minutes of Super Chat. But there was an additional $80 in Super Chat that day. So theoretically, I collected $430. Of that money, I received approximately $300 to my Google account. Now, how did I make these people give me money? This is how you run a legitimate scam. I made them give me the money. I'm not real sure, but by the time I get back to my show notes, I'll figure something out. Hold on, let me get back to my show notes. Maybe somebody else could help me with this one. Okay. Thank you for the support, LaRue. Thank you very much, Steph. I took the barge from Traverse City, Michigan to New York. That was 1,700 miles by water. And then I took it from New York to Miami, and then I took it from Miami to Cat Island. That was over 2,100 miles. So I sailed that barge with the crane on it about 10,000 miles in 10 years. So thanks, Jeff. So now I got an idea. Jack gives me ideas. I get ideas. Jack gives me ideas. Okay, so I made those people give me those Super Chats. Jedi mind tricks. That's how I did it. Jedi mind tricks. I Jedi mind tricked them. What I did was I didn't ask for money. That screwed them up. That screwed up their whole day. I didn't ask for any money. Then, on top of not asking for money, I never mentioned Super Chat. Well, that screwed them up even more because they're saying to themselves, this guy doesn't even talk about Super Chat, and people are giving him Super Chat. And then on top of not asking for Super Chat, I didn't mention that I needed a new computer. They knew that already. So they said, you know what? This guy didn't ask for a new computer, so let me send him like another $500 for his new computer so we could upgrade the i7 to the i9, which was nice, but not enough. We give it an A for effort, but, but when the operation is a success and the patient, doesn't make it through the operation, give them an A for effort. So they gave it their all. They gave me another $500 of Super Chat so I could upgrade my computer. Not enough, though. You know that. We already talked about that. So how did I Jedi mind trick them further? I didn't ask for Super Chat. I didn't mention that I need Super Chat. I didn't even mention that I deserve Super Chat because my time is worth money. I didn't mention that you should give me Super Chat because I give you a good show. I didn't mention any of that stuff. This is a Jedi mind trick that I give, that I do. I'm good at it. It's called running a legitimate scam. Remember what Jesus said? Jesus said a lot of stuff, but Jesus said it is better for you to give to Michael Fazio than for Michael Fazio to give to you. That's in the back of your head. You'll never forget that. That's a Jedi mind trick. But then I said, ask and thou shalt not receive. Or did I never said that before. But that's in your head now. Ask and thou shalt not receive. So I'm asking you, please don't send me super chat on Friday in $1 donations. I am setting the Jedi mind trick of the year in motion. Now, if I get $1 or $100 on Friday, I'll be a Jedi master. That's my goal. I'm going to Jedi mind. So anyway, how did I get $500 on that day where I did that video? Operation Gilda, the world's greatest lie ever told to mankind. How did I get that money that day? I did it by not asking, which made you say, he's not asking me for money. Let me give him this damn money before he asks for it. And I feel compassionate, and I feel, that compulsory that I give this guy the money. Let me give it to him in advance. I'll screw him up good. I'll give it to him before he asks for it. That is a legitimate scam. It comes with the operation of wearing a fedora properly. It's a fedora thing. It's a scam thing. It's a legitimate scam. Lots of people run legitimate scams. Now, what would be an illegitimate scam? Let me tell you what an illegitimate scam would be. Then you'll know the difference and why some people run a legitimate scam. Steve Montelli, I know he took after the Fazio. He said, Fazio's onto something. Let me run a legitimate scam. I'll tell these people, they give me money, they get nothing back in return. For you, I give you something back in return. I give you pleasure. Okay, that's what I give you. Informational videos. I teach you how to take motors apart on my Patreon page. I show you when I fell fixing a fan, because it's called planned obsolescence. Certain things can't be fixed, and I show you that too. Okay, certain things that the fan couldn't be fixed because they couldn't get windings for the fan. So to buy a winding and to put the winding in, it wouldn't be a reasonable period of time or money, so I just bought a new fan. But that's not the point. I run a legitimate scam. But what is not a legitimate scam? It is not a legitimate scam if I say to you, look, Michael Fazio, I need a new computer. And I keep saying that every day. I need a new computer. And I need this new computer because I could show you right now that my screen, if I move this computer, I'm afraid it's going to shut off. But I'm going to show you my screen anyway. I'm just going to be very careful here. My screen is that screen right there. That's the screen I'm working from. And this is the screen on my computer, totally blank. I lost my screen on this computer, I don't know, 4 years ago. So then I bought that's up there. The big screen is what you see, the corner of the big screen. But the HDMI screen, planned obsolescence, took a crap, either in the computer or on the HDMI screen. So I had to buy another screen. But my screen is broke right here. Now, I proved that to you. And also my keyboard. So I'm going to show you. I'm going to just press this X, right? X, Z, C, X, Y, Z. Doesn't matter. If I take this top here, I hit them with the keys, nothing happens, okay? Nothing happens because there's nothing happening. The keyboard took a crap 4 years ago, right after the screen. The keyboard took a crap. So we're going to put this back down here like this. All right. If I get on my computer and I cry, and I cry, and I cry, and I cry, and I show you the computer screen, you're going to see that the computer screen is broke. But that's not how you run a legitimate scam. If I'm crying for a new computer because my computer is broke, My screen is broke. My keyboard is broke. You see it. I just showed it to you. That's not how you run a legitimate scam. You don't, I can't say, I broke my computer. My computer is broke. My keyboard doesn't work. The screen doesn't work. You can't do that. You got to not say nothing about the computer. Just mention, it would be nice if you people gave me an i7 Asus ZenBook Pro Duo computer with a 15-inch screen, and it's only going to cost you people $3,500 and leave. Just let those dollars flow. That's a legitimate scam. But if I say, I need $3,500, I want can't do that. Can't do that. Now, because you people gave me $3,500 for a new computer, I have to go with the live stream on Friday I want $12,001 super chat. I have to do this. I'm doing this for you. I'm doing it for you because you already gave me $3,500. I can't get a computer. I don't want you to think I'm scamming you for the money. And in the video, Jollibees is #1. I show you the computer store. The shelves are empty. There are no computers in a computer store on August 7th of 2020. There are no computers, nothing, zero. There's no computers in the front display, the back display, any display. There's no computers in the store. Did you hear what I said? There's no computers in the computer store. The other computer store by the college is closed. It is closed. The doors are closed. It's not even open. And the third computer store in the Galaris Mall, nothing. Well, I looked at the shelves. I saw a computer, but it was a 3-hour wait to get into the store. They wouldn't let me just walk in and make a video. 3 hours people are going to wait there to maybe buy a computer or some computer. There are no computers in Bohol. But if I cry that I can't buy a computer, I'm not going to get any money on Friday. What I got to tell you is that you people invested $3,500 of your hard-earned dollars, and I can't get a computer from the computer store. So I have to get a computer to satisfy your wish, wants, wills, and desires. So that means I have to go to China to get that computer. And if you send me $12,001 super chats, I'll upgrade the $3,500 computer to a $5,000 computer, which will leave me $10,500. My goal is to collect $12,000 US in super chat. That'll leave me $10,500. I'm figuring $2,000 of that is going to go to airfare. I'm figuring another $500 to $1,000 for hotel expenses in China. So let's take $3,000 off the $10,500. That leaves me with $7,500. Now I'm going to have to go into quarantine. That's another $1,000 in quarantine in China. So that leaves me $6,500. Then when I come back, if they send me through Manila, the new rules, I'm not sure what they'll be. I might have to go into quarantine in Manila. That's another $1,000. I still have to get out of Bohol. I might have to go to quarantine in Manila to get to China. That brings me down to $5,500. I only have $5,500 left. And then when I get back to Bohol from Manila, I have to go back into a 5-star hotel called the Henan, and that's $1,000 for the 14 days. That leaves me only $3,500. I'm back to where I started. Basically, I'm at zero again. I started with $3,500. I ended with $3,500. I'm basically got nothing left except an additional $3,500. And with that, I don't know. You know what I'll do? I'll buy a program in China, now that I know I have extra 3,000, I don't want to take your money and I want to spend that shit. I'll take that money and I'll put it towards something else, something that I need. What else? You know what? I'll buy a phone. I'll buy a real phone where I'll be able to live stream from it. Yeah, they got phones in China for $1,000. I'll buy $1,000 because the stores in Behold don't have $1,000 phones anymore. They're all gone. Yeah, that's what I'll do. So that gives me $3,500. I'll buy $1,000 phone, and I'll buy. By the way, in Behold, I don't know if you know this, but I got to tell you, you talk about legitimate scams. Had I bought that computer from the store in the video, it comes with Windows 10, right? But it don't come with Microsoft Word. And they only have the professional version. That was an additional 13,500 pesos. So in China, I don't know how it comes. So we have $2,500 left. I bought $1,000 phone. We have $2,500 left. I need $300 for the Microsoft Word. That leaves me with $2,200. The nice number. And with that, I don't know. I'll think of something. I'm going to spend all your money. Don't worry about me spending your money. Just send it, and I'll worry about how to spend it. That's a legitimate scam. I'm telling you right up front. I'm running a legitimate scam. All right, so with that, we're going to say goodbye. Somebody remind me on Friday, if I forget the Boy Scout, the words of wisdom, what my dad gave me. I'm not sure if it was my dad or my uncle, but one of them two people gave me something for the Boy Scouts that when I brought it to the meeting, they looked at me like, "What? Are you serious?" I got to tell you, it's one of the funniest stories you ever hear. Even to this day, I haven't showed it to people in a long time, but when I show it to people, they go, "Are you for real?" Yeah, I am. It was either my grandfather's and my dad gave it to me, or it was my grandfather's and my uncle. This thing is about 75 years old. Remind me to show it to you. So with that, LaRue, thank you for stopping by. I need to get you a Jedi certificate in a frame. That's what we need. 1111. 1111. It's 1157. Buffering. All right, ladies and gentlemen. I run a legitimate scam. Take that to your beneficiary and or your figures of authority. Put it plain and simple. I, Michael Fazio, run a legitimate scam. Therefore, I deserve, for the time I spend to run a legitimate scam, I deserve your hard-earned dollars in the form of super chat or stupid chat. Now, I will say goodbye. God bless. And remember, Jesus. Are you there, Jesus? Come here, Michael Foss. Come on over here, say goodbye. Say hello to LaRue. I got a phone directly to Jesus. Hey, LaRue. Hello, LaRue. Thank you for the love. Thank you for the love, LaRue. LaRue Segrist, chosen by the Lord to maintain the integrity of the Lord in the Philippines, baby. I love LaRue Segrist, as does everybody else on my channel. God bless, LaRue. Thanks for stopping by and cheering everybody up with your presence on YouTube. Umping per me, which means take care always. Bye-bye, LaRue. We love you. Take your time. No hurry. You have a special place in heaven. No bakakon. Umping per me. LaRue, we love you. Thank you. And God bless.